Some strange force is working on this world. They've led me here, to this consecrated ground, to this madness.
Welcome to part 2 of our box opening. Steve's going to open the first pack. We're super excited about this set, obviously, for good reasons. One of the cards that I really like is Essence Flux. Exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it's a spirit, put a +1/+1 counter on it for 1, and it's an instant. You can't get faster or cheaper. Like for
Cloud Shift.
Yeah, it's a really good Cloud Shift for your Spirit deck. This is going to be a strong card, I think. It's going to see some play. I was just thinking of all the different combos you could do when someone targets it, or when there's other cards like Avacyn's Missionaries. This card would be so good with Abyssinian Missionaries. There you go. This card with this would be fantastic. I don't know if we can go over that later maybe, but
We'll put it up in the thing up there. So
yeah, it'll be up there.
I pulled Epiphany of the Drownyard. Blue and X. Reveal the top X +1 cards of your library. Separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. This is going to be a staple in every single Delirium.
Yeah.
This is going to go in every single Delirium deck.
Oh my gosh.
Because, or at least with blue in it, because you can separate the 4 types into each one, or separate, like some good cards in one hand, but with an artifact and a creature or whatever else. And so you're getting the bonus of putting cards you want in the graveyard and some cards into your hand, as long as you're wisely separating them. So yeah, this is going to be a Delirium staple, I think.
The thing that's interesting about the card is it says an opponent. So if you're in a multiplayer game, who decides what opponent? It doesn't say choose target or a target opponent, or it doesn't say. You know what I'm saying? Like who do you what do you roll?
That's a good question. They fight for it to the death.
They fight to the death for it. Okay, that works. All right, opening the next pack. I got Welcome to the Fold. This is a 4 casting cost sorcery. Gain control of target creature if its toughness is 2 or less. If Welcome to the Fold's madness cost was paid, instead gain control of that creature if its toughness is X or less. I was just thinking, there's ways to get around the 2 or less thing. I don't know, like if they've got a 6/6 in play or something like that, Languish, and then Welcome to the Fold, take their creature. Because you would keep their creature after it resolves. So that's one way of possibly getting around that. But that's kind of unconventional. That's a lot of mana to try to just take a 6/6.
Well, there's
better cards in
another one that's like Tooth Puller or something like that. That it's a Delirium card, and if you have Delirium at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, a creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So let's say you have 2 Tooth Pullers, whatever they're called, in play. They're 4/4 at the beginning of a turn. You can make a 2/2 and grab it with Welcome to the Fold. Or for its madness cost, you just grab whatever you want at that point. And so it really does have some potential in a blue-black deck, with black being able to give the negatives to things. So it's going to be specific moments, but I could definitely see that getting some play.
Yeah, I think the madness on that will be really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, the normal card isn't as good as the madness, so if you can discard it for any reason and use it, its madness cost would be better.
I pulled an Alter Ego, but I just want to show the picture for Rabbit Bite really quick. It's actually a human biting a werewolf, and just I love it. It's just goofy.
So would he turn into a were-human?
During the moonlight, he turns back into a person.
Well, maybe that the werewolves, they should have done that. They should have made a werewolf that turns into a human. That would have been awesome.
But Alter Ego, it's a blue, green, 2 colorless, and then X. Alter Ego can't be countered. You may have Alter Ego enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except with X additional +1/+1 counters on it. So the flavor is wonderful, isn't it?
Flavor text on
On Rabbit Bite it says, you should have seen both of their faces.
The werewolf's like, what?
Yeah. But Alter Ego is any clone. Clones have always been useful cards. Again, just utility cards to have whatever you need. Do you need an extra Relentless Dead? I guess you'd be playing 3 colors at that point. So, or do you need to copy one of their things or whatever it is, like just that good utility. but the benefit of being able to put the X+1/+1 counters on it is nice. Again, you can play this for 4 without the X and be able to copy a creature. You can also throw some +1/+1 counters on it if you want. Very good utility card.
All right, so I got another double rare.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize.
mean
It's
it.
amazing.
Oh, by the way, this equipment's great. It actually transforms with your creature.
Right.
When equipped creature transforms, transform neglected heirloom. So when your creature transforms, it does too, and it's 1 casting cost, 1 to equip. So really good. It'll give, when it flips, +3/+3 and first strike. And it still has an equip cost for 3, so you can unequip it after your creature transforms to maybe another creature.
Mm-hmm.
But the 2 rares I pulled were Angel of Deliverance and Sage of the Ancient Lore. So Sage of the Ancient Lore turns into Werewolf of the Ancient Hunger. It says it's a 5 casting cost, that's 4 generic mana and 1 green mana. And that's 2 stars for power and toughness. A Sage of Ancient Lore's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. When Sage of Ancient Lore enters the battlefield, draw a card. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform Sage of Ancient Lore. That's a Vigilance Trample when it flips. Werewolf of Ancient Hunger's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in all players' hands. At the beginning of each upkeep, if a player casts 2 or more spells last turn, transform Werewolf of Ancient Hunger. So, pretty good. I don't know. I could see that working with like a modern deck, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I have a green-blue EDH. He's not right on the other side. I didn't know he's still green. Yeah, green-blue EDH that is all based on the amount of cards I have in my hand or commander, sorry.
You just try to draw as many cards as you can.
Yeah, I sometimes I'll end up with like 60 cards in my hand.
Nice.
And so with Krufix as my commander, so that's definitely going in there.
Reliquary Towers in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is one that would work really well with that Cloud Shift type card, which is called Essence Flux.
Mm-hmm.
Because just bouncing it's going to draw you a card.
Absolutely.
And when you draw a card, Sage of Ancient Lore gets bigger.
Yep.
So that's cool. I also got Angel of Deliverance. It's a 6/6 angel for 8. And it has Delirium. Whenever Angel of Deliverance deals damage, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, exile target creature an opponent controls. This is not a flip card.
No.
No. Pretty good, actually, because once you use her exile ability, I know the 8 casting cost is high, but if you were to use the exile ability, the creature can't come back.
Right.
It doesn't say until Angel, you know what I mean? Nothing's going to get it to come back after
It's not like
that.
a Banishing Priest where it comes back into play, or there's another flip card that does that now.
So all it has to do is deal damage.
Right.
If it deals damage, exile. And it's flying, so it's going to go over the top of some creatures and possibly able to do that damage.
I don't know if it's going to get much standard play, but I definitely think it's going to see a lot of commander play. I think a lot of commander decks are going to like the idea
It's
that...
just too expensive.
Right, the casting cost is... 8 isn't as bad in commander by any means.
If this was your only high casting cost drop in the deck, I could see it. Maybe 2 of this, but that's it. And it would be strong if you could get it into play, because you're going to start exiling their stuff pretty quick. It's not like Annihilator or anything great like that.
Right.
What else did you get?
I got an Aberrant Researcher, which I just want to talk about real quick, just because it's the new... what's the other one that flipped? Because he was a bug.
Oh, gosh. I can't think of the name off the top of my head.
We'll have it up there, and we'll talk about it. And I'm going to remember it when I'm done talking about this guy. But...
yeah, I have the picture in my head.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like this. So anyway, it's the new one. Like in the original Innistrad deck, he flipped from a person into like a bug person, and now this is the bug person flipping into the perfected form, and he's just this giant insect now. And so I just think it's cool that they have that kind of continuing research that this guy's doing here. But the rare that I pulled, the Mythic, Behold the Beyond. It's 5 colorless and 2 black. Discard your hand, search your library for 3 cards, and put those cards in your hand, then shuffle your library. This would be super cool if it were cheaper. I mean, the discard your hand part is nice because if you have no cards in your hand, there's nothing, and then you can search whatever 3 cards you want. But kind of like we were talking about with Angel of Deliverance, this is going to see a lot of commander play, because 7 cost is not that much in commander, and then being able to pull your infinite combo or your perfect combo for your commander or whatever else is going to be a huge deal. And so in a lot of black decks, or a lot of black commander decks, this is definitely going to go in there to be able to pull those perfect combos are exactly what you need. So I don't know about standard play, but this is a great commander card.
Falconwrath Gorger. Falconwrath Gorger is a vampire berserker. It's a 2/1 for 1 red. Wow, that's actually pretty decent. Each vampire creature card you own that isn't on the battlefield has madness. That the madness cost is equal to its mana cost. That's actually really good.
That's very good.
Because basically it sort of gives them flash if you've got some sort of ability.
It does exactly that, yes.
Yeah, that's really, really strong. I can definitely see this in a mono red like aggro deck. Like,
yes,
people are gonna definitely be playing madness with all their vampires and just getting everything out in play.
Yeah, that is huge. The 2/1 for 1 red is so nice just by itself, but then the fact that the madness cost, all of a sudden all vampires in your hand can be played as an instant if you have an instant ability or an ability of some sort that allows you to discard cards, or even just getting the benefit of whatever you're doing for discarding cards is such a nice thing to be able to do. Tooth Collector, that's the card I was talking about earlier. Tooth Collector. And you can see that he has a lot of teeth. That's weird.
Well, he collects the teeth.
Right, of course.
He doesn't like taking his own teeth out, apparently.
I pulled Foreboding Ruins. It's the black version of the one you pulled earlier. Again, kind of like a buddy land. But they're going to be useful. I like the lands.
Is that what they're calling them, buddy lands?
No, the old ones were the buddy lands.
What are they calling the new ones?
I don't know. That's a good question.
There's so many different names for all the different kinds of lands that come out with. I can't
Shock
keep up.
lands and pain lands and buddy lands.
So I pulled an uncommon that I really like. It's called Geist Blast. Right now I'm playing a Relentless Punishment deck, and it's super fun. The whole deck is basically just like control, like remove creatures, remove planeswalkers, like, and then I use Howl of the Horde to copy Relentless Punishment after I swing. And so I can copy Relentless Punishment. I've copied Relentless Punishment 6 times or 7 times in tournaments. I got I think 2nd place. The only time I lost is when I got land hosed a little bit. So basically, the deck is like, I don't know if you're familiar with Relentless Punishment, but if you copy it 6 times, it's game over. That's like 40 damage if there's no creatures on the board. It's not easy to deal with. But I have to remove Howl of the Horde from the deck because Howl of the Horde's going out with a new set. So Geist Blast is a great way to replace it. It's not quite as good because it can't copy the spell twice, but it's a control card too. So I can do 2 damage to a creature or player, and then I can exile it for 2 generic and 1 blue from my graveyard and copy target instant or sorcery spell I control, and I may choose new copies for the target. So I can take Howl of the Horde out and play this instead, and actually it will sort of be better in some ways. Not in that I can't copy Relentless Punishment as many times, but people hate that deck, so I'm going to have to keep playing it. Because I'm terrible.
So I pulled Fevered Visions. It's a red, blue, colorless, 3-cost enchantment. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player draws a card. If the player is your opponent and has 4 or more cards in hand, Fevered Vision deals 2 damage to him or her. So it's getting people to fill their hands up with stuff, and then it starts dealing damage if they have more cards. Again, with as many people that are going to be playing Delirium and Madness, I don't know if this is going to be doing too much. The benefit of this is if you can get them up there and you have several of these out, you can do them 4 to 6 damage.
Yeah.
But it's not 2 damage per card, and it's not something that's going to be really, really easy to get them up there. So I suppose it is 3 costs. If you can get it out there pretty early in the game, then it would work out well. But beyond that, yeah, I don't know.
To me, it's like a Howling Mine, but it deals damage to the opponent. So I think it's going to see possibly some commander play. And
I guess just for the card draw on your own.
It's not a bad card, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're drawing a card, which is nice. So I can see that. That's true. The benefit of being able to get your own card draw, and then, hey, you might as well hurt other people as well.
I got a foil rare Drownyard Temple.
Well done.
I think that's okay, right? That's pretty good. So that means I got 2 rares again.
You're a wizard.
Ooh, okay. So Drownyard Temple says, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, pay 3 generic mana, return Drownyard Temple from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So if for some reason you mill it or it gets put in your graveyard for some reason, like, I don't know, something that destroys target non-basic land, you can return it to play for 3 taps. That's really good, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that might see some play. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I know lots of Eldrazi decks will want to play that probably. So.
Yes, that's a really big deal. And there's all this like questioning, like, is Emrakul in Innistrad? The fact that there's waste in like the mana is in there.
And there's tentacles everywhere in the art.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've noticed that, but like there's just weird tentacles showing up in places you're like, why is there a tentacle? Why does this thing have a 5th limb?
Right. Well, I'm just looking right here.
Strange.
Deny existence. Whatever's reaching has a lot of tentacles in his face. You see Dance with Devils. Their tails are very tentacle looking. Like, and there is a lot of tentacle themed going on.
There's lots of humanoids that you'll see like maybe have a 5th finger or a 6th finger or whatever. You know what I mean? Obviously, 5 fingers is the normal amount to have.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
But, yep. Okay. So Asylum Visitor is my other rare that I got. It's a wizard vampire creature. It's a 3/1 for 2, so that's 1 generic and 1 black. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, you draw a card and you lose a life. That's actually pretty decent. I think at the end of the game, like, and you both are top drawing, I think that could definitely save you the game if you had that in play.
Yes, absolutely. Again, just more card draw. The benefit of card draw. Sorry. Okay. Grotesque Mutation has the worst art on the planets. I can't even handle it. And when I saw it, as I was like studying the cards, looking through them all, like, nope, can't do it. Anyway, it is.
What? You don't want a mouth on your hand?
No,
I don't
no,
understand.
no. Okay, I pulled Burn from Within. Red and X. Burn from Within deals X damage to target creature or player. If the creature is dealt damage this way, it loses indestructible until end of turn. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Gosh, this card is so close to being fantastic, but it's a sorcery.
It's a sorcery.
And not an instant.
It's replacing Crater's Claws.
Right.
So Crater's Claws is going out of standard, and so they needed to replace it with something. I love X casting cost burn spells.
Yeah, more than anything, I see this being played for 2 all the time.
Yeah.
Just to get rid of indestructible. Just to be like, oh, you give your guys indestructible, now it doesn't have that right now, and now I can use, my creature to attack, or I can, tap with the emblem, the werewolf emblem, tap to deal damage to it now, or whatever else. So this has the ability to kill creatures if you have X.
Yeah.
If you don't have the big X, hey, use it for 2 and just take away indestructible from something.
Totally. The fact that it takes away indestructible, I think, is going to be really good.
Yes.
Not many cards can take away indestructible from creatures, so I think that's going to see play.
I agree.
I'm actually going to put it in a deck. I already know I'm putting it in my Supergirl deck. I play only the female planeswalkers in the deck.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah. Anyway, what's your next card?
I got a Forgotten Creation, 4-cost, blue 3. It's a creature, Skulk. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard all the cards in your hand. If you do, draw that many cards. Ah, so wonderful. Again, with Madness or Delirium, you get down to some cards that you don't mind if they're in your graveyard. Or, again, this is zombies, so you've got some zombies that will return to the battlefield under some circumstance. You dump them in the graveyard and you draw a bunch more cards. So, and then it's May, so maybe you don't want to do that. So you don't at that point. And so it's really, really useful to be able to draw more cards and get the things you want in the graveyard for Delirium. Or if you have Madness, to be able to play a bunch of cards for the Madness cost all at once. Great card, Forgotten Creation.
Definitely. And my last one for part 2 is Engulf the Shore. Return to their owner's hands all creatures with toughness less than or equal to the number of islands you control. So if you're playing mono blue, that could possibly be 4 right at 4 mana when you hit that 4th land. So I think that's actually a pretty good return spell. I haven't seen something that good since Cyclonic Rift, possibly.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of like a newer Cyclonic Rift.
And it's an instant, so really good. The thing about this card that's so good is using it at the end of your opponent's turn. When they have maybe already 7 cards in their hand or 6 cards in their hand, you return 4 or 5 creatures to their hand, and they're going to have to discard all those cards.
Or if they're attacking all out with a bunch of tokens, and you use that, and you don't return tokens to the hand. You're literally just killing a bunch of tokens.
Yeah, then they're gone forever.
Yep.
All right, well, this is done. We're done with part 2
right
for now, and so we have 1/3 of the deck left. And join us next time for part 3.
See you guys then.
Later.